Hello everyone and welcome to Celestial Invitational. I am D2. With me is Kaldi. Those are not us on the screen, although I do recognize the middle Chinese caster Snowkiss. She is absolutely wonderful. Very excited to have her being able to cast the Chinese edition for the Chinese audience. And today we have the finals of the Celestial Invitational. Last 4 days were all the group stages. And we're finally getting to the last part of it, going to see who takes the largest share of that $25,000. And we have a stacked group today with Firebat, J-Shot, Tom, Brarose, Eloise, Life Coach, Dog, and Kolento, as you can see on the screen there. 6 of the 8 players are invites. 2 of them, J-Shot and Brarose, managed to get out of their really difficult groups and make it through to this final 8, Caldy.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely an insane day here. We have Firebat, the actual champion, going up against the underdog Jasia, someone who even not the Chinese people don't really know. Then we have Tom, 60112, who's been dominating the past 6 months or so, but is really looking to take this tournament here. Going up against Brarose, who beat Thais convincingly and took the I believe he took the first place in the group there, and then we're looking at two stacked foreigner pro versus pro. We have Life Coach versus Eloise, and then we have Kolento versus Dog. And I mean, Life Coach versus Eloise or Kolento versus Dog could be the final of any tournament.
Right, Kolento's Dog is a huge match, and I am a bit confused here. I thought that Firebat versus J-Shot would be our first match, but looks like we're looking at Dog's decks right away here. Going to be that Patron Warrior, plus the Face Hunter and the Dragon Priest there. Now, just a reminder, players are not allowed to change their decks, but they are allowed to change the order that they bring them in. As we do see, one of the commentators is one of the members of Celestial on the left side there. And indeed, it looks like we're having Kolento versus Dog right off the bat here. Basically, the biggest match of the first round, in my opinion. 2 huge names here right away. And yeah, it looks like we're going to be seeing Kolento's Rogue, his oil kind of Rogue with the Unearthed Raptor, as well as the aggressive Mech Shaman, and finally his tempo mage there. And yeah, what do you think about this? Just right off the bat, going with Dog versus Kolento. I was getting ready to have the Chinese player narrative talking about how J-Shot and Brarose made it here, but we're gonna start off with 2 Westerners.
Well, it seems like we're saving the best for first here. A crazy matchup coming up. I mean, Kolento with his Raptor / Control Rogue hybrid, his aggro Shaman, and his tempo mage. But Dog, however, has been pulling out an anti-aggro lineup, and it's kind of crazy to call Face Hunter anti-aggro, but that's the reality we're living in now. I mean, Face Hunter, double explosive trap, double unleash the hounds. If you're going to be attacking a Face Hunter with low health minions, you're gonna have a very bad time. So I think it's gonna be very rough here. I mean, Kolento is a magician; he will pull out all the stops here. So a crazy matchup coming up for our first one here, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I wasn't really prepared for this matchup right away, but looks like we're going to be having that. One thing I did want to talk about, and one thing we are going to be talking about throughout this tournament, is the order in which they bring their decks. Remember, guys, they have to bring all 9 classes, so whatever decks they win with in this first round, they are not allowed to play that until the end. It's basically like a super conquest. You have to win ones with every single deck the entire way throughout the finals. And just the biggest thing here is that just to see where they put the Shaman deck, just to be blunt here. Shaman has not performed well, in this tournament, and obviously it's been one of the weaker decks thus far, up until this date in the last few months. Obviously, being a little bit better, having the aggro Shaman come out from Rained and people like Luffy. But again, even those decks, even those aggro Shaman decks, which have performed well on the ladder, not doing too well in this tournament. And just right off the bat, Kolento has a Shaman in his first lineup. One strategy that we saw, Caldi, in the qualifiers to this event was that we had the Chinese players decide to save Shaman for the finals, kind of thinking that if their opponent had made it to the finals, they probably would not have the Shaman up until the finals either.
I think it could also be the old Chinese modesty. They maybe assume that they are not going to get to the finals. But I mean, I talked about it when Kolento was playing his group. He doesn't care who he's going to face. He's going to win every single match and go to the finals. I mean, Rogue and Xiaoman here in the first best of 5. I mean, that just tells us he is looking to win the final, not to win the round of 8. And I think on top of it, Mage is not probably at least Kolento isn't really known for his mage. He's known for his priest, known for his warrior, known for his druid. But yeah, I can't say Kolento is really known for his mage. So I feel like Kolento is probably bringing his weakest classes now to have a better chance later on. And Dog just seems to be going middle of the way. I kind of like the idea of Dog. I think he may be copying a bit what Tyres was doing. So Tyres was looking at it as bringing three classes that worked well together. That was his strategy. So he had, for example, Freeze Mage and Dragon Priest and another anti-aggro deck. And then in the last game he had Druid and Paladin, which are kind of, brawny decks that are meant to force a win early and just kind of punch through on power alone. So you could beat a control deck 3 times versus the first lineup that he had. The anti-aggro one could just patron Dragon Priest and Freeze could just demolish an aggro deck 3 times over. So it seems like Dog may be copying that a little bit, bringing his anti-aggro lineup here.
Right, right. And we talked to Dog yesterday in that interview. He said it might have been a slight mistake to bring that warrior, to bring the patient warrior. He has admitted that it hasn't been performing too well lately, excuse me. And just looking at these lineups one more time, I mean, Kolento, like you said, he just, has no fear. He wants to just win it all or maybe, fall here, whichever it may be. He doesn't really care about second place or, third and fourth place finish. He wants to win the entire tournament. So going with maybe a bit of a weaker lineup in this first match, it looks like Dog going the exact opposite approach, going with that Shaman in the finals. Now, we do have 3 players who have brought Shaman, who have decided to order their lineup in such a way that Shaman is in the finals if they do make it there. And that is Dog and our 2 Chinese qualifiers, Jayshaw and Braros. So, again, those players having experienced the qualifiers up to this event, keep in mind, guys, those qualifiers were the exact same format as the finals that you're about to see. And in their experience, they found success putting the Shaman for last, thinking that anyone who put Shaman before them was probably going to lose anyway, and they were thinking that they could brave the Shaman in the finals if their opponent also had that Shaman. So it looks like Dog going with a pretty similar strategy potentially. Maybe he has a different feeling about the matter, but in any case, it's going to be a bit of a weaker lineup for Kolento in this first match, and that could give Dog the edge.
I guess to talk briefly about why we're having Kolento versus Daga first. Apparently, Firebird was a little bit late, and he's going to be playing the 4th match of the day. So we're going to have Kolento versus Daga first, then we're going to be moving on to Braros versus Tom, then Eloise versus Life Coach, and then ending off with Firebird versus Jasia. But yeah, Firebird has a little bit of reputation in the Western scene for, not being the biggest morning person, he's known for showing up in his pajamas, his Batman pajamas, and that's just sort of when a lot of people are like making notes and getting ready and about to play on TV and scouting decks and talking to the teammates, he just kind of strolls in, with some coffee and in his pajamas and just plays on stage and wins, and that's just kind of Firebird's character. So a very relaxed player who doesn't take everything too seriously, but it seems to win regardless.
Right, I think in the actual matches he feels like he has enough, mechanics and technique and just being able to play the matches themselves that he's pretty confident in that scenario and puts basically all the work into the preparation for the tournament, what decks to bring and scouting at the meta. So on the actual day of the event, not going to be that concern about how his play is going to be. In any case, we are going to be getting into that first match. It is Dog versus Kolento. We're going to be having Firebet later on in the day, and it's going to be starting off with that Face Hunter versus the Oil Rogue of Kolento that has the Unearthed Raptors in it. We do see the heal bot, and yeah, it looks like he is going to keep it. That is a key card to staying alive in this matchup.
Absolutely here. But yeah, I think Dog may be looking good here in this first match. I mean,
ooh, that is a very expensive hand from Kolento. It's a good thing that he has that prep, however, because that prep will allow him to potentially clear some sort of board. But Dog not even going to commit anything else to the board. Obviously, we don't see anything in his hand, but Kolento kind of ironically wanted to see more on the board there to get value out of his fan.
Yeah, I mean, people have been talking about if he has a coin, there's little reason not to keep the prep. Because you so often end up having 4 or 5 cards in the late game, and as you do have sprint, for example. So just getting those cards out earlier is really what you need. But there's no Forto. That's the big thing for Kolento. He will need to wait until turn 4 at least to get anything out on the board.
Yeah, exactly. And despite, again, having that prep and having that heal bot to be able to sustain him, he doesn't really have anything going until turn 4, like you mentioned. But on the other hand, Dog has a pretty slow start as well, not willing to commit to that Arcane Golem and give his opponent more mana. And you can see why. Kolento being able to play, one of his 5-drops here as well as, speed into the following 5-drop would be pretty devastating, but is able to pick out that SI7 agent even though he's throwing it on the board without the combo. It's probably got to be a sigh of relief a bit for Kolento here.
Yeah, I think without the heal bot, this would be looking extremely rough. But the bow is critical here. Will get him 6 damage. So we're looking at 26 probably being the total amount of life that Kolento will have with this heal bot. It looks like it would take maybe
Ooh.
4 or 5 turns, but he's going for the Arcane Golem right off the bat here.
Wow, very interesting. Decides he wants to get something on the board. He could have maybe gone for that Eagle Horn bow, but obviously wouldn't be able to pair anything with it like he would with this Abusive Sergeant. So wants to get that extra 2 damage in right away. And Kolento not going to commit to the heal bot yet, realizing that at 5 mana, Dog isn't going to be able to kill him. So going to go for, I would say, a slightly greedy play, but a reasonable play with the Azure Drake, especially because he has that prep fan. Just clears the board, and now Kolento, I dare say, looking at a pretty good spot despite, the burst from Dog's hand. I mean, this could turn to a race here.
Absolutely. We'll see the heal bot coming down on the next turn, but from there, where does it actually go? I mean, if we look at the hero power now, it's how much is that? We're looking at 15 damage. Can Dog really actually carry that through? It will be really, really rough. I mean, he
Right.
has the kill command quickshot, but it might take 3 turns.
Right. With that heal bot coming down for Kolento, this is going to be a very close game. Kolento coming up back up to 15 health here. Can't wait any longer. Doesn't have any way to get any other cards out onto the field, so just going to be the 7 damage right here. Looks like he's going to coin into his hero power so that he can get something working next turn. Doesn't want to float any mana at all, and I think he's not going to attack. Going to save it because he has that Deadly Poison and Blade Flurry, going to maximize his damage the following turn. And does Kolento have lethal the next turn? He has 10
He
damage.
does, yeah. It's 19
Wow.
exactly. Wow.
So, yeah, 10 damage on the field as far as minions is concerned. Then he has the 7 from the Deadly Poison Blade Flurry as well as the SI7 agent. So, Dog, if he's a bit worried about his own life total, he needs to start clearing right now, which is not what you want to be doing as a face hunter.
Yeah, no question. I mean, the Arcane Golem just opened up so many possibilities for Kolento. Gave him that 3 extra. It's been 2 extra mana now. But he could also save the coin when he was going for that Azure Drake and was able to get the hero power rolling right now. He wouldn't have had lethal without. If Dog hadn't gone for the Arcane Golem, then Kolento wouldn't have had lethal. So, okay, it did give Dog more damage that 1 turn, but also gave Kolento lethal a turn earlier. So it took away a whole turn for Dog. But yeah, I mean, if Kolento takes this one out, it's looking pretty good for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Dog is going to kill command something. We'll see if it's a minion or not. Going to be going to the face, so yeah, I mean, I assume Kolento's not going to miss this, so that's probably going to be game 1 going to Kolento here, and Dog got to be kicking himself for giving his opponent that early mana.
Absolutely, it's a tough call though. I mean, without the heal bot, there would have been no chance, and without the heal bot, the Arcane Golem is the right call, no question about it. But yeah, Kolento taking game number 1. I mean, then he'll have the mech aggro shaman, I think, which will probably be the most important point of this best of 5. Can Kolento win with his mech shaman? But versus Dog playing that warrior that he isn't really comfortable with, and Phase Hunter, and he isn't really known for Phase Hunter as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of shows the difference between playing against a deck and actually using the deck yourself. Obviously, Dog, having gone against Face Hunter plenty of times, knows how to defend it, knows the options that Face Hunter has, but, piloting the deck yourself, it can be a bit tricky, especially in that situation where he was stuck between going for that Eagle Horn bow or going for that Arcane Golem, and we saw in the end that Arcane Golem ended up biting him and, reversing the damage on him from Kolento. That said, maybe going for the Eagle Steelhorn Bow could have been too slow. Maybe he would have lost that game regardless, but obviously going to be a difficult game for him to swallow. We are going to be going into game 2 hopefully shortly here. Like you said, Kolento with those two aggressive decks, the Shaman and the Mage. We see that he picks the Shaman, and Dog is going to be going with that Priest, so pretty good matchup for Dog here.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, this is a mandatory win here for Dog. We had the same thing happen when Dog was playing against Thais, and in that case, Dog just drew completely dead. And it looks like something similar might be happening right now. Shadowwood Death, Dragonkin Sorcerers, and Sylvanas is not what he was looking for. He has 6 1-drops and 2 2-drops, so 8 cards in total. He doesn't draw a single one.
Yeah, that's pretty painful to look at. Kolento, on the other hand, does pick up some 2-drops. Let's see if he can top deck a 1-drop right here. That's not going to be it. It is technically a card that you can play for 1 mana, but not going to be dennising the face, I assume right now. Finally picks up the Coghammer 1 turn too late. That would have been an absolutely mind-blowing start with the Cogmaster into double Totem Golem, but Dog spared a bit here. Let's see if we can get the view of his hand. I believe he had a Dark Cultist in hand, do you remember?
Yeah, Dark Cultist, Sylvanas, Dragonkin Sorceress, and Shadowwood Death. Then obviously he will top deck 2 more cards now. He has the coin on top of it, but Kate got here with a double Totem Golem star. This is looking exactly like things were looking when Dog was playing against Thais. And then he did end up losing them. That ended up costing him the whole series.
Right, yeah, losing that match was really painful for him. Looks like he's not going to coin out that Dark Cultist that we know is in his hand. Kolento going to take the board. This is a lot of pressure put on Dog. These minions, I mean, you can Shadow Word Pain them, but other than that, you know, really difficult to get rid of them. They have a ton of health, and let's see if Kolento keeps on the pressure, or more likely, or more in tune with what is going on in this game, how he's going to do it. Does he go for that Unbound Elemental? Looks like he's going to reach for the Power Mace. Doesn't have any mechs in hand at the moment, but that Dark Cultist is pretty threatening with its ability to basically make another minion get out of range of being killed.
I mean, yeah, Kolento is known for his priest, so he knows exactly the power of the Dark Cultist. And with that dead, I mean, there's nothing stopping Kolento from just demolishing everything here. It'll be very important to see what exactly he gets, but he ends up getting that rock bar. That's perfect here. There's no mech, sadly, for him, but I mean, is he just going to possibly ignore it? I think.
Yeah, it looks like
go
he's
for
gonna
the
take
lightning
it out.
bolt. Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna overkill this by 2, but he's still gonna be able to take it out with and keep his board alive here. Still a pretty resilient board with, you know, the 3/4 Totem Golem and 3/5 Unbound Elemental, which could grow obviously with that Doomhammer in hand. One funny interaction would have been if Kolento played the Rockbiter and then switched to the Doomhammer and had a 6 attack plus a 5 attack. Obviously didn't have the mana for that, but that would have been pretty funny to see. In the case, we finally see Dog come out with his Dragonkin Sorcerer, and he played the Twilight Whelp first, which means it's still unknown to Kolento whether Dog has any more dragons in hand. That could be the only dragon in hand, that Dragonkin Sorcerer, but looks like Kolento going to commit to this Doomhammer, and looks like everything is going to face. Kolento really putting on the pressure and making Dog respond here. We do see that Kolento essentially has, you know, 10 damage coming from his hand if you can include that Rockbiter.
Well, you know, Faces the Place and Kolento is embodying that, absolutely. But I think the key thing was the last turn when he did end up buffing his Unbound, saving the Rockbiter for now turn 7. He realized, okay, I'm going to take one Overload, but I can still play the Doomhammer. I don't need to be using the Rockbiter right now, so I won't have lethal anyway. And, I mean, this is just so unfortunate for Dog.
Right.
The main thing is having that... those 1-drops ready, having those Worm Crests rolling.
Wow, Dog has an embarrassing mistake there. Doesn't even kill off the Unbound Elemental. Just miscalculates the damage and can't even take that out. I think he was even dead on board in that situation. So not going too well for Dog at the moment, as Kolento takes a 2-0 lead in this series with that aggressive Mech Shaman, just playing it very, very well, knowing when to trade, knowing when to put on the aggression and go to the face. And that's one of the weaknesses with the Dragon Priest. If you don't immediately grab board control, there's not too many comeback mechanics other than something like the Light Bomb and maybe the Holy Nova. And in particular, there's no huge heals, right? There's only the Holy Nova for him to be able to heal more than just his hero power. And in that instance, Kolento just had the amount of damage to be able to kill him, and Dog could do nothing that last turn.
Absolutely. But I think to note here is I think he was looking rough anyhow, even without that last misplay there.
Right, he was
I
dead
think
anyway,
Kolento
no
would
matter
have.
what he did, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I think to note though is, generally in the European scene, nothing happens before 3 or 4 p.m. Some people are streaming before 3 or 4 p.m., but generally there's little to do. So the sleep schedule of the European pro is often, waking up till 3 or 4 in the 3 or 4 a.m. here. And I mean, Kolento, in his time zone, I believe it's 9:30, but in Dog's time zone, I believe I think it's 3:30. So
Right.
it's extremely late or early for Dog, depending on how you assess it. But I think that may have an effect. We talked
Actually,
about Dog just being absolutely gone here, and Kolento also, he didn't sleep the night before he won his group convincingly. So yeah, that may be playing an effect on Dog.
yeah, it looks like Kolento may have picked the wrong deck here. Has the Druid, and we do see that the Mage is what he's supposed to be playing. So we could have a regame here. But yeah, while we get this all sorted out, yeah, I want to talk about that again. Do you know if Dog lives on the east or west coast of the U.S.? Because obviously that makes that could be as much as a 3 hour difference. I believe if he's living on the west coast, it is around 1 a.m. or if he's on the east coast, it's around 4 a.m. something around there. So it will be a big difference. Looks like we're gonna have a regame. And yeah, in any case, it is kind of a strange time for Dog to be playing. Obviously, was able to get through yesterday, get through his group pretty well. But yeah, both players kind of in a weird time zone, especially for gamers. And we will see what happens in this match if Dog can come back. Obviously, he has that anti-aggro lineup, and we've seen crazier things before. We've seen reverse sweeps throughout this tournament, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if Dog is able to pull off this comeback.
No question about that here. It'll be strange though to see if the mage can pull through. I still feel like this is not over by any means. The tempo mage versus, for example, the hunter, that'll just come down to the draw. I feel like, yeah, now we see the scenario where the hunter has the coin. I feel like the hunter's actually favored when he has the coin.
Right,
Uh, and that's not as much about having the coin himself. It's more about denying the coin
right.
from the mage. But that hand from Konto is really, really good.
And the hand from Kolento does have a lot of answers, but not a lot of threats itself. So if Kolento has to sit there and basically just remove everything from Dog turn after turn and doesn't get anything going on his own terms, then maybe Dog can get that damage in. And going to be able to play this Mad Scientist followed by the Wolf Fighter next turn. Let's see if Kolento commits to killing this right now. Nope, going to go for the Arcane Intellect, playing a bit greedy, but could pay off for him in the end, especially with that Flame Winker coming into hand with that Arcane Blast at its disposal.
Yeah, this limit will be the key to his victory here if he's going to be taking this one. But I think Doug, maybe thinking about the next game and the game after that here. But the Arcane Blast here will be just devastating. The main thing will be, does he hit the Wolf Fighter? And if he does hit the Wolf Fighter and the Abusive, this is looking like it's almost game over.
Right, we will see where these pings land. The Flamework is gonna go off and hits the Wolf
Ooh.
Fighter, which is good. Doesn't get a perfect hit, but pretty good. I think if you're Kolento, you will take that. Does take off a lot of damage off of the board. Dog here in an interesting situation. Do you commit both minions to the board, or do you start committing to having a hero power every single turn? Obviously, that Flame Waker is a bit of an issue as well, so you could take that out with Quick Shot, but then you're losing a lot of damage to face. What do you do here as the aggressive face hunter?
I think you have to kill a Flamemaker. The amount of
Ooh,
removal that he gets through that. He doesn't kill a Flamemaker. Wow, okay. I think this may be a mistake. I mean,
right.
it will be so easy for him to remove everything right now.
Yeah, as the tempo mage, you really like it when your Flame Waker is able to stick a turn and you're able to just start throwing those missiles everywhere. We do see that Kolento has some options in hand with regard to being able to, quote unquote, activate this Flame Waker. Looks like he's going to go ahead and take care of the first half of the Honda Creeper and just start, just dealing a lot of damage. We might see actually 2 Frostbolts to the face potentially. Yeah, it's going to be that. 2 Frostbolts to the face. Can he finish off this board? It's going to be pretty huge. Let's see where the pings go. Does get the entire board. Now nothing to take out this Flamemaker other than that quick shot. He could have, speaking of Dog, maybe gone, thrown a Spectral Spider in if he had that on the board and, prevented the Flamemaker from ever attacking face. But looks like he's just going to go aggressive.
And he gets the arcane missiles on top of that. Wow, this is going to be just.
Kolento just favoring the damage, not going to go with the arcane missiles first, going to go with the flame cannon first, just to make sure he gets that extra damage to face. And now we'll see what he goes for. Is going to attack in, and all of a sudden, even though Dog's been doing his best to go face, Kolento is in a heavy lead here as far as damage done to opponent.
I think I kind of have to talk a bit about another line of play, which would be attacking in, then going for the Azure Drake, and then the Arcane Missiles, keeping the Flame Cannon. I feel like Ping and Flame Cannon is not as strong as Azure Drake. Okay, I mean, technically, your Hunter will be at 10 health, but you'll have an extra minion and an extra spell to roll that out.
Right.
And now he isn't dead, but I feel like it would have been another story here.
Wow, so it looks like Kolento... Is he going to go for it? He's going to go for it. This is about a 62% chance that Kolento wins the game with these boombots right here. Can he hit them? 4 and 1. That's going to be it perfectly for Kolento. And Dog right away is out of the tournament. Cowdy, this is something that we were not expecting.
Not at all. I mean, we're talking about this being probably the closest match and the most exciting one here, with 2 very established pros. I mean, Dog, not a pusher by any means, been dominating here, picked up by Team Liquidist. I mean, Kolento made him look like a scrub here in this match. 3-0.
Right, I mean, just amazing play by Kolento there, realizing when to go aggressive, when to trade, just playing his matchup perfectly, playing whether it's control or aggro or combo. Kolento knows how to play the decks. And on the other side, Dog didn't play too badly, but a couple of things here and there, a couple of questionable lines of play with his Face Hunter, and that was the difference. Kolento takes it in a landslide, 3-0.